All right, guys, so we're going to be starting your original emoji design project today. So you guys have all done at least 3 ideas, drawing with your brainstorming activity. So you should have 3 ideas to think about for your final emoji design. So you're going to pick the one that you like the best, the one that you think is the most creative and unique design that you came up with during your brainstorm activity, and you're going to create a digital emoji drawing. So this is how we're going to get started. You have a Google Drawings document attached to your assignment with your name on it. You're going to get started by opening that document up, and this is where you're going to create your digital design. You should have the drawing that you did in front of you while you're creating your digital design so you can see all of the different details that you are supposed to include in your final design. So we're going to get started by using the shape tools. You've got lots of different shapes to choose from. And we're going to be using the curve and polyline tool as well to create the details for your emoji. So I'm going to start with a traditional emoji. I'm going to go to my shapes and I'm going to get a circle because I'm going to have a traditional circle body for my emoji. So I'll just click and drag and create a circle. I'm going to make it nice and big so it's easy to see all of the details I'm going to add. Next, I'm going to think about what I want my emoji's body to be for the color. It does not have to be yellow. Yellow, of course, is the traditional color for emojis, but your emoji can be whatever color you want. You can choose any color from the solid color picker. You can create a custom color and pick any color that you see on this rainbow bar here. Or you can pick a gradient. There's lots of different gradients to choose from. That is a transition from light to dark. So if I click on this gradient right here, you can see it goes from a darker blue to a lighter blue, and that looks pretty cool. You can even create a custom gradient by going to this custom button, and that's going to give you the options of picking your own colors. So you can choose your first color, and you can choose your second color. That's the wrong one. I want to choose a different color. You can even go to custom and you can choose a color if you don't see it on that menu. So I'm creating a mermaid emoji and I want to do, I think, like a blue and a green. That looks good. So I'm going to hit OK. Very nice. I have a line that goes around my emoji. You guys can decide if you want to keep that line or if you want to turn that line off. And you can, of course, go to your border color and you can click to make that line any color you want. Or to turn it off, you can click transparent so you do not see that color anymore. You can also increase the thickness of that line. If you go to the border weight button, you can make that line thicker or thinner if you want, if you decide that you do want to have a line there. You can have a nice little cartoony look to your emoji if you include this line, but I'll leave that up to you. So I've got my emoji, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the eyes and the face for my emoji. And I'm going to go back to my shapes, and I'm going to pick another circle. And this is going to be my eye. So I'm going to choose the color white for that eyeball. I'm going to make another circle for the inside part of my eye, just like this. And I'm going to make that black. And that's going to give me a nice little eye. Another way that I could do an eyeball is I could make a circle and I could make it about the same size. And instead of making it white, I could make it black and then add a smaller circle to create a little reflection in my eyeball. So you can decide which eyeball you like better. All right, so there's 2 different versions. I think I actually like this black eyeball a little bit better, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this one. I'm going to move this eyeball over here because I want to make a copy of it. So to do that, I'm just going to click and drag to select both of those shapes that I made, and I'm going to hit Control D on my keyboard, and that duplicates any shape. And we learned how to do this when we did the turkey project earlier. So I'm going to put both my eyes on my screen. I can use those little red lines to line up my eyes so they're both equal. Forgot my little white dot here, so I'll put that right there. And that looks really nice. That looks starting to look like an emoji. I'm going to go back to my shapes and I'm going to find a shape that I could use for my mouth. There's a couple of different ones that I could use if I wanted to have a smiling mouth. I've got this crescent moon that looks like a half circle. I would have to turn it around. I also have this little flow chart one that I could use as well. I think I'm going to go with this one. And I'm just going to make a little moon shape. And I can use this little bar to rotate my shape so I have more of a smile. And I'll change that to white so it looks like my emoji smiling with some nice white shiny teeth. Now I said I was going to make this a mermaid emoji, and of course mermaids have tails. And I don't have any shapes that I can see that right away look like a mermaid tail. I could maybe play around with some stuff, but for this, since I have a very specific idea in mind, I'm going to use my curve and polyline tools to draw the shapes that I want to use. So I'm going to go get my curve. And I'm going to draw a tail shape. I'm just going to go like this. It's looking a little funny. But if I don't like the original shape that I draw, I can always double click and I can get points and I can move things around. And I can make this look a little better for my mermaid tail. I'm going for like the body of the mermaid tail. I haven't done the fins yet. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to move it right here. And I'm going to change the color to the color I want my mermaid tail to be. I think I'll do a gradient. And I think I'll do a pink color for the tail. I want like a slightly lighter pink. So I'll go up here. And I can get a lighter pink. That looks pretty. And I'll hit OK. Now I want this to be behind my circle. So I'm going to right click. And I'm going to go to order. And this way I can send that shape behind all the other shapes that I've made by sending it to the back. So there's my mermaid tail. I'm going to turn the line off since none of my other shapes have a line. And now I'm going to draw the fin part of my tail. So I'll just start right here with my curve and make that little fishtail part of my emoji. It's going to take some creative kind of drawing and playing around with the shapes. Let me see, just like that. All right, I'll fill it in with that same gradient that I created. It's saved right here. Turn the line off, and I can see how that looks. I'm going to adjust the shape a little bit. All right. Doesn't look quite how I imagined it would, so I'm just going to play around with it and adjust a few things. All right, that looks pretty good. Right click, order, send to back, and now I have a little mermaid tail. I can probably make this a little bit smaller too. It seems like a little big to me. There we go. That looks nice. All right, so I've got my mermaid tail for my emoji. I think the last thing that I want to do is I want to add a little crown here for my mermaid emoji because I want her to be like a mermaid princess or a mermaid queen or something like that. And I did say in the instructions for your emoji that you may use one clip art picture to add detail to your emoji, but the rest of your design must be constructed using the shape, polyline, or curve tool. So I can go to my insert an image and search the web, and I'm going to search for a crown for my mermaid to use. And I may want to use clip art or PNG, and that will give me a artwork that does not have a background, so it fits nicely with the rest of my art. So I think I'm going to try crown PNG first and see if I can find something that works. And what I'm going for is something that does not have a background. So there's going to be nothing except for the crown. And I'm just going to look through all of the ones here that I like. Let's see, I'm going to go back up and I'm going to try this one right here. And I'm going to hit insert. So this one's not going to work because you see how it has a white background. So that's going to make it hard for me to put that crown on my emoji in a way that makes sense, that where it all fits together. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to try using another one. Let's see, how about we try, sometimes when they have this little pattern right here, that means it might be transparent, but it's not always the case. Let's try this pink one right here. All right, that one worked. Do you see how there's no backgrounds? So now I can put it up here and I can add it. And what I might want to do is I might want to send that to the back too. So it's behind my emoji's head, and that way it fits a little bit nicer. And I can shrink it down. And however you guys want to do this, I can also take this picture and I can go to crop, and I can crop out that bottom part that's kind of sticking out so you don't see it anymore. And I think that's going to work. So I'll bring this back to the front, and that looks a little bit nicer. Look how perfect. All right, that worked really nicely. All right, so there is my mermaid emoji. So I drew my tail with the polyline. I created my head or my body of my emoji with the shapes tool, just using circles and a little crescent moon. And I inserted a crown from clip art using the insert image and searching the web for that crown. And I looked for a crown that had no background, so it fits in with my emoji. I can always right click and go to background, and I can create a background for my emoji if I wanted to. I might go to gradients and maybe I think I want to make a new gradient because I want a light blue color like they are in the ocean. That looks nice. So I've got an ocean now, and I can even go in and I think I'll use the curve, and I'm going to draw some seaweed shapes like my emojis in the ocean. And I can make those green. And I can duplicate that a couple of times to just add some more and make it a little bit smaller so there's some variety. And the secret to creating your design is that anything that's not on this canvas, if we were to print it, would be cut off. So you won't see little pieces that come off the canvas like that. So you can create as many designs as you want, and anything that's going off of the edge of the canvas will be cut off if we printed it. I can even go in and do some circles, and I can make some bubbles. And let me show you something that's really cool. If I go to gradient and I select a color for my bubble, I can, I think, make it transparent. So I'm going to try going to custom here, and I'm going to make one side of my colors transparent. Okay, and we'll see if that works. So look at that. It goes from white to transparent. Turn my stroke off. And look how cool that bubble looks. I think it might look even better if I go to my gradient and I do another custom one and I make this radial instead of linear. Wow, that looks so cool. All right, so I'm just gonna make a couple more of those and I'll make a couple of different sizes. I have some different size bubbles. So you guys can see how there's lots of fun things that you can do to add details to your design. You can play around with gradients, you can play around with custom colors, and have fun creating your original emoji design.